Hey, it's Captain Matt, Motor Secret Weapon. I'm out here on a beautiful, Thursday afternoon, and doing some video work and adding a little bit to a couple of our programs on navigation. I'm here on the part of Lake Wylie that has some navigation buoys, some danger buoys. So I figured this would be a great spot to put this together and add to the boating amplifier toolkit and share it with you as well. So you can see I had a few folks that requested that I commentate a little bit as some of the videos where I'm cruising around. So I got some copyright strikes for playing my radio. I didn't even think about it that you can't do that. So I can't have the radio on, and instead of just sitting here listening to nothing, I figured I would commentate a little bit, and maybe I'll add some extra music in after the fact. So anyway, we're here on Lake Wylie. This is up ahead of me. You can see that's 85, Interstate 85, where it's crossing over. So on the left side of the bank, well, actually here everything's North Carolina, but as we get a little bit further down on this lake, one side of the bank is North Carolina, the other side of the bank is South Carolina, and the state line somewhere in the middle. So when it comes to fishing licenses, law enforcement, this lake is actually governed by, we've got North and South Carolina sheriffs, we've got U.S. Coast Guard because it's a federal waterway. We also have, let's see, Gaston County, Mecklenburg County, York County, as well as Belmont, the town of Belmont, and I believe the town of Gastonia and Gaston County. I think they run the same boats, but there's all sorts of different law enforcement, all sorts of different rules on this lake. But that's where at the right up the way. No, actually, it's up here just a little bit in front of us. We'll probably pass it. Is the U.S. National Whitewater Center. The Whitewater Center they kind of diverted some of the water from the river, and it's where the United States whitewater rafting team and kayakers practice, and they do their trials there as well. So it's a really cool area. They've got a nice restaurant there. They've got hiking trails, biking trails. It's really pretty cool.
Say happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
All right, get going. All right, let me know, everybody, if you can hear good. Happy 4th of July, everybody. That was my youngest. She is at a day of sun and a couple days of sun and lake and fireworks and all sorts of good times. You can see the little bit of the lake behind me. I am in just outside Knoxville, Tennessee on Lake Loudon, visiting my in-laws on the way to Lake of the Ozarks. We are packing up tomorrow and heading to the Lake of the Ozarks. So, oh, you guys good? All right, perfect. Bill W., welcome. Ray, welcome. Got the Garmin working. Good. Was that the fix? Was the fix what you shared with us? I think it was last week. Hopefully that did the trick. Very good. Bill W., enough fun and sun over the last few days. Glad that you joined us, Bill. Glad to have you here. And yeah, hopefully everybody had a good, fun 4th. Appreciate it, Bill. Appreciate it, Ray. Wayne the Boat Guy, welcome. Wayne the Boat Guy has a YouTube channel as well. He is up in Maryland, and he's done some great videos. He's got a couple of boats that he does some maintenance videos. He does just some new boater stuff, and I like his approach. He said, "Listen, I'm a new boater. I'm going through a lot of this stuff right now, and I'm learning it, and I'm going to share with you what I learned. I'm going to make some mistakes. He says I'm not an expert boater. I'm trying to become one. And he shares his insights and the things he learns. And I think it's a really good channel, some really good content. He seems like a great guy. So I asked him to join us on a live as a special guest. We're not doing it the next 2 weekends because this week I'm in Tennessee on Lake Loudon. Next weekend, I will be at the Lake of the Ozarks at my family's lake place in Missouri. And so that following weekend, I think Wayne's going to come on and just like any other special guest, just kind of give a, hey, if you got something to add, a conversation, a question, he's going to jump in. And I think it'll be kind of fun to introduce Wayne to the audience here and his style. He's just a low key, no nonsense kind of guy. And so welcome, Wayne. Glad to have you. Oh, perfect. That was the trick. Bill. Oh, okay. Bill's in St. Michael's, Maryland. So I assume that's Wayne. Where on the Chesapeake are you? I don't remember exactly where you are. I know that a lot of your stuff is on the Chesapeake area from what you talk about. So I think that'll be a fun time. And I'm going to try to do that instead of just seeing my mug on the face all the time talking on the screen. Try to invite some other people that have some expertise that's better, different areas than I do. And I think that could be kind of fun as well. So hopefully everybody had a good time out on the water. Let's see here, Pasadena off the Magathi River. Okay. So if Bill, if you know where that area is, but let me know if you got out on the water this weekend. Let me know, Derek. Let's see here. We got Hux. Charlie is up in 8 hours on the boat, 4 hours of scrub down. That's for sure. Morning rain just had a bit more of work at the end of the day. That's awesome. Glad that you guys had a good. This is Charlie's first year on his Yamaha jet boat. And sounds like it was a pretty good fourth. Hopefully you got to see some fireworks. We were invited out. Derek, glad to have you. Welcome. We were invited to friends of my in-laws to a cookout. They had some just awesome food and a bunch of cool people that friends of theirs from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, friends from Mexico, neighbors, us that with our friends. My father-in-law went to college with these friends. Took a couple boats out. A really awesome. I should have taken a picture of it. I didn't. A really awesome. It was a 1990 Cobalt, probably a 21 footer or so. This thing was clean. It was nice. It was just a beautiful boat. You could tell it had been well loved. He bought it from a friend of his that had passed away, who had bought it brand new from the same dealer that my father-in-law and mother-in-law bought their boat. And just a Travis Marine, a great dealership here in Knoxville. And the group we were with knew the people that had the barge for the fireworks. And so one of the guys is a bagpiper. He bought his bagpipes and he played to start the show off, and then played to kind of get it off. We were right front row. I swear they were going off right over our heads. The embers were coming down, 50 yards away. So we were good and safe, but it was a great show. It was a good time. Hopefully you guys all had as good of experience. Bo, good to have you. You noticed I got your intro going. I think Bo, that's you. You got so many usernames that it's hard to keep up with you, but I think it's not that I would never get on one. I did this specifically. I got this boat. I use Boat Setter, which is when I'm doing some of my training videos, depending on the style of boat I need. Sometimes I'll go to Boat Setter, get my boat. This was, I needed to do an outboard to finish up the single engine outboard version of the Best Boat Captain on the Water. So what I decided to do is get this Tahoe, because I haven't run a Tahoe for a long time. And I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to do these reviews. I've inspected the boats, but I need to actually run one and spend some good amount of time on it. And I did. And I think I got a pretty good feel for the boat, the positives, the negatives. And it's, like I said in the review, it did better than my expectations were. But you could tell where the cheapness came in. So you could tell where they cut corners on material. You could tell where the design was a less expensive design. You could feel it in the ride, although the ride wasn't terribly bad. But you could feel all that stuff, and that's what I wanted to do. And the boat was perfectly adequate for I did an advanced docking mastery. So I went in a really, really narrow fairway and showed how to dock. I was in 8.5 foot beam going into a 9 foot slip and showing how to make that maneuver in a narrow fairway where you don't have room to do much maneuvering. You really got to just pivot and slide in. And there was also a breeze. In this case, it was blowing us past the slip. So I thought that was a pretty good opportunity. We did that. We did, what else did we do? How to tie it up on a U-shaped transient dock. We did some other things just to finish out. Most of it I did at the coast in a Sea Hunt center console with a 250 Yamaha. This was a 1950 Tahoe with a 150 Merc Pro XS. So it was a fun time. But I've got nothing against value boats. I personally, that's not where I would invest my money. My mentality, I do it with my vehicles, is I buy a used something that is a good quality brand. So I drive a used F-150 that I bought used. It's got a bunch of miles on it, but it's the Lariat package and it's perfect for what I need. Boat side, I think that same approach works well for me, but everybody's got their own opinion of how to do it. And there's nothing wrong with getting out on a Tahoe. Certainly the Bayliner, the VR6, I know that we've talked about. I don't always have the opportunity to get out on the water in these boats to do a full review because the manufacturers aren't going to give me the keys to a boat not knowing what I'm going to say and not having any control over what I'm going to say. I'm going to give a review. It's going to be an honest review, in my opinion. Some of them, they'll like it. Sometimes they won't. If you follow the channel, I had a dealer down in Marco Island, Florida, that was livid with me. One of my videos, he was not happy with what I said. And so he continued to watch more and more videos. And I think over 6 different videos, and just looking at the time of the comments, he had to have watched them all. And he was not pleased with anything that I said. He thought I was an idiot. He thought I had no business sharing my opinion, that I wasn't an expert, that I was damaging the boating industry, that I was going to be sued by a manufacturer. I was going to be a class action lawsuit against from the National Marine Manufacturers Association. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And so I responded to all his comments. You can go see it. They're out there on a bunch of different videos. And hey, it happens. I try to do as honest of a review as I can, but I'm not going to jeopardize my honest opinion for income, saying, hey, give me your boat, pay me money, and I'll do a review like Boat Test does. Boat Test reviews, good. I mean, they're better than most, but if you notice, they really can't say anything bad because they're paying $10,000 or more. I've kind of looked into it to see how they do it. They're paying a large sum of money for Captain Steve to come out, run the boat, do all the numbers, much more professional, much better job than I do. But the review is, it's always going to be positive things. The language, you can kind of read through the lines a little bit, but it's a good, helpful review for people. I just want to be able to say, I don't like this. This isn't the one for you, or stay away. Or if you're this type of person, stay away. So, all right. So if you got questions, if you've never been on a live before, I don't know what we're going to have as far as people here because it is the 4th of July. I usually do them on Sundays, but I pushed it to Monday because, well, like you, I was watching fireworks on the water, and I thought that was a better use of everybody's time to celebrate our country than listen to me talk. All right, so N2 high voltage, looking to get my first boat, live in Lake Tahoe. Thanks for all the info you put out there. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Check out the over 350 videos we've got on the channel now. You know, if there's a video you think you would like to see, let me know. I got a note from a guy that bought the Trailer Like a Pro program, and he said, "Oh man, I really wish it would have had this. I boat in Florida, and we've got the algae. When at low tide, we've got all the algae on the ramps, and I was hoping you would talk about that. Like, I've never experienced that, so I've got to go to an expert down in Florida, see how they avoid their boat slipping down into the water and ended up on Qualified Captain or something like that. So I got to find that information out, make a video to add to it and make that better. So if you ever have any video ideas, drop them in the comments, shoot me an email, let me know on the lives. I have never been to Lake Tahoe, but that is one of the places that my wife has on the agenda for us to visit. Since this is my job, she thinks that she should pick out a bunch of cool lakes for us to go to and check out, and that one's on the list. So yeah, Steve's boat test videos, they're great. You know, but you also have to understand that they're advertisements, that they're paid for advertisements, and he's doing the review. Again, I think he does a really good job, and but they do have control a little bit over what is said and not said. So, boat they want to sell cheap. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see if I missed a comment there, but you may have missed something here in the typo. But keep the questions coming. High voltage. If you've got a question that you were asking, let me know. Or if it's just a comment that selling a boat cheap, red flag right there. What's going on, especially in this market? But it could be. I mean, there's still people that are getting great deals, a family friend or whatever. It still can happen, but it is red flag. Let's slow it down. Let's check things out a little bit. Matt, what do you think of aluminum bay boats? Been looking at Excel Low Express. Preston, I would ask where you're going to run it. Are you really running in the saltwater environment? I think the pontoons are good, but you're really not getting any water in the boat to sit. And I haven't dove into the aluminum category very much. I started looking at this year's boat show, the Greensboro, North Carolina boat show. They had some aluminum product, although few and far between, like all manufacturers, they didn't have a ton of product. But I did look at I did look at the Express, and I did look at the Excel. They didn't have a low there. And I can't come off the top of my head to talk about them. I'd have to go back and look at my notes because I'm really just trying to figure out what makes a quality aluminum boat, welded versus riveted. I think all three of those are welded aluminum, but also running in saltwater versus freshwater. I know they're real common in freshwater. I haven't seen a lot of people run them in the saltwater, so I need to dive into that a little bit more for you. I don't know if there's anybody out there that has Wayne. Actually, Wayne, you might be. Do you know anybody that's running an aluminum bay boat like this in the saltwater environment up there in the Chesapeake? I would be curious to know kind of what their experience is. I think both of your boats are fiberglass, if I'm not mistaken. Wayne, the boat guy. Rhonda, good to have you. Went out on the Barletta myself yesterday, picked up some people at another landing, was early, docked it all by myself, got out, tie off. Couldn't have done it without your videos. That is awesome, Rhonda. I love it. If you're new to the channel, Rhonda is in Myrtle Beach, and she's been on an interview with me. She's left a bunch of comments. She always sends me some great emails. I featured her in the newsletter last week or a couple weeks ago when she was going back to all my old videos when she had her foot surgery and was spending her time probably on some painkillers watching my videos. But she'd never been a boat owner before, invested in the best pontoon captain on the water, and has been having a blast in her boat and the confidence to go out by herself at the coast. So this is at Myrtle Beach. I don't know if she was on the Intercoastal or back in one of the rivers or something. But in that environment, by herself, to go pick up friends, and then had a great time. I can only imagine that Rhonda had a good time. But welcome, Rhonda. I love seeing your name pop up. I love when I get an email from her. I know it's going to give me a chuckle, and it's also hopefully going to have something nice to say, that some other boating adventure that she's updating me on. So that's awesome. And I think hers is a 23 or 24 foot Barletta. So it's not like it's a little 18 footer that she's handling by herself. She's out there running a bigger, size pontoon, and able to handle it all by herself from the things that she's learned. And as Charlie would say, Huck's 2012, the practice that she's put in. She didn't just watch the videos and say, got it. She got it pretty quickly, but also has done some practice and put the time in to really get comfortable. Gotcha. So high voltage, you'll notice that sometimes I'm a little slow on picking up jokes and things, trying to get more speaker wired into my cuddy. Hey, Bo, did you end up finding getting that Bayliner cuddy? Was it the 962 or 692 or something? No, putting speakers in your boat is fine. Just make sure that you've got, I'm not a stereo guy by any means, but I know, make sure you've got the amp stuff right. Make sure that when you're mounting things, that you realize that your fiberglass is only so thick, and that make sure that you're mounting it somewhere where it's going to be nice and secure, and that you don't accidentally access something where you might chafe another wire, where you might go through the hull of the boat or into an area that you don't want to. So just pay attention to those kind of things if you're cutting out new holes and mounting them in actual compartments. And then also, like if you're mounting them somewhere where there's storage nearby, just make sure the wires are good and dressed back so that you're not pulling the wires out of the speaker and maybe damaging the speakers or disconnecting them. That would be the only kind of things to watch out for, is just, make sure that you're not damaging something or damaging the speakers by where you place them and how your wires are run and dressed back. So, all right. So Wayne says, some folks do. My small boat is aluminum, brackish water. It's not too hard on it either. Okay. That's interesting. And that's a boat that the small aluminum, I'm assuming it's trailered out every time based on your videos, Wayne. So, let's see here. And I'm going to Lewis, I'm going to come back to you. Australia, they run a lot of old aluminum boats in the saltwater. Okay. So that's good to know. Like I said, I've got to do a lot more research on that before I start giving any advice on it. What I do is, hey, questions to dive deeper in. So, all right. I think we got a quick hello here from another special guest.
Hi.
I think dinner's about ready, so head up there. Okay, save me some.
Bye.
All right, say Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
All right, that's my oldest. What do you want? What do I want? Yeah. Nothing. I'm going to come up and eat after this, so you're good. That's my oldest. She just hopped out of the shower after a day. We didn't even, like I said, we didn't even head on the boat. We were on the lily pad, floating around, floating on the noodles, throwing the football back and forth, listening to some Kenny Chesney and having a good time. So, and like I said, we got to pack up early and head to the Lake of the Ozarks tomorrow morning. So hopefully they'll get to bed at a reasonable time. All right. So, letter Lewis says, was on last week asking about tri-tunes, settled on the Sweetwater SFL. I'm going to say that's single forward lounge, single something lounge, flip lounge planning to put a 200 on it. Do you think power steering? Yes, absolutely, power steering on that. That 200 on that tune, I would definitely go with power steering. My like 150 is where I say you can go without it on the 150, but you're going to regret it. You're going to be okay, but you're going to be like, especially if you do any tubing or you do any water sports where you're turning around to pick people up, or you're on a narrow body of water where you got to turn a lot. But eventually you're going to be like, I should have got it. I should have spent that extra $1,500 on the 200. I would say absolutely. Don't even try to save money on that. Upgrade to the power steering. You'll be grateful you did. Upgrades on the new tune. So, all right. So for me, it depends on what you're going to do. I think a ski tow bar for most people is a great idea. If you're gonna do water sports, tubing, watch my video that I just put out a couple weeks ago on should you attach a tube to the ski pylon on your pontoon? Because the answer is maybe not. On that Sweetwater, I would say depends on what version. Maybe upgrading that ski tow bar would be a good idea if you're going to tube specifically in the chariot style, big Mabel type of tubes. The other things, depending on where you're at, the Bimini top, sometimes the extended Bimini is great. If you really like the shade, Southwest Florida, that's okay. That's letter. Where are you at? I don't remember. And Ted, I'm gonna come right here to you when I finish up this. I appreciate Ted just made a $10 donation, which is very much appreciated. Let me ask this question, and then I'll get back to you. So, Lewis, give me a little bit more idea of where you're at and what type of boating that you're going to do, what you're into, family, kids, ages, that type of thing, what a perfect day on the water looks like. And I'll give you some more suggestions and I'll come back to you. Okay. Okay. And Rhonda's is a 24-footer. So she's running a 24-foot pontoon by herself at the coast and doing it like the best boat captain. All right, Ted, thank you for subscribing. Glad to have you. Staten Island, Raritan Bay Fishing Ground. Learned so much from you. Have a Robalo. Oh, save for a Robalo or new Bayliner trophy. Looking to buy. It's okay. So Ted, this is the question that I go to, and I talk about it. I don't have any of my props. The only prop I brought is my little toy boat. If we got into any navigation questions, because I threw it in with my camera stuff. If I'm going to do some videos at the Ozarks, but okay. Here's the question I asked: what type of vehicles do you buy? Do you buy the brand new, Yukon Denali, or do you get the, Honda CRV? Do you drive a BMW, or do you buy the Ford Fusion or Ford Focus? Do you buy a used vehicle like I do? Where are you in that category? If you were going to buy a new refrigerator or dishwasher, are you going to buy the most expensive, all tricked out? You can spend $3,000, you can spend $2,000, or you can spend, $1,200. Which of those would you buy? And start thinking about, and it's a level of quality, because you will notice little things. And you can watch my review that I did on the Tahoe to kind of see what I'm talking about. The Bayliner, perfectly safe, perfectly adequate. You can have a great time on it out in Raritan Bay, and you're gonna be fine. But you're going to have little ticky-tacky things that are going to come up. Something's going to rattle a little sooner than it would on the Robalo. It's not going to ride as sturdy and it's not going to feel as solid under your feet, is the best way to describe it. It's not going to take the rough water as well. Part of that's because of the weight and just the solid feel. It's not going to be like, the ergonomics aren't going to be there where, it's the cup holder's where I want it. The rod holder is exactly where I want it. little things are gonna come up on the Bayliner Trophy versus the Robalo in this case. So if saving, but there's also what, a $10,000 difference depending on what size you're looking at. There's also that money. Hey, I can afford to spend a little bit and fix it up as these things come up. Some of them will be warranted, some of them won't. The dealer that you're buying from, if it's the same dealer, okay, then that's thrown out. But if there's a one dealer is significantly better than another, has a better reputation, is locally more convenient for you to get to than the other, I throw that into the equation as well. But I don't think there's a right answer of this is the one you should get. I think the thing I would say is, are you going to be driven crazy by little ticky-tacky things that come up in the first 3 or 4 years that will come up on the trophy? I can't say what they will be, but there will be something, versus having less of those things, although there will still be something on the Robalo that isn't perfect. The better dealer is going to jump on it and fix it for you under the warranty. But you're going to have fewer of those things that come up on the Robalo overall. I really like the Robalo as a mid-tier. I assume that you've watched my best and worst center console video. My review, I stick by where I put them in my review for the 2022s. A good solid boat. I like their opening to their center console if it's big enough for a head. It's a good rock solid company, Chaparral Robalo Marine Products, their parent company. And I think they make a really nice boat, and that would be my decision maker on those. So let me know, Ted, if that answers your question. If you have other questions, just pipe them in, and I will keep checking so that I can get back to you. And again, I appreciate the support as a new subscriber, and the financial contribution as well. Very much appreciated. All right, so Lewis, we're going to come back to you. You're in Freshwater in Indiana. Let me know where in Indiana you are. Ray, if he's still on, is from outside Fort Wayne, I believe. Narrow body of water, really young kids, 1 to 3 tubing, just cruising around. Okay, so a couple of things. We're trading in a 24 jet boat, so planning to use this new boat. Do it all tube cruise entertainment. Yes, it's a flip back lounge. Okay. I can usually decipher the one of the big selling points. Okay. So here's a couple of things to consider with the young kids. Let's see. Stereo control on the back of the boat. I think that would be a good addition. You're going to be anchored out. You're going to be pulled up on the sandbar. If you're floating around in the water with the kids, having control of the stereo on the back of the boat is a good addition. Upgrading the ski tow bar, I think, would be a good addition. Depending on how your feelings about the sun, I kind of mentioned it. Upgrading the bimini top from, I think usually you're an 8-foot is the standard. Typically they'll have a 10 or 12 foot that you can upgrade to, or you can keep the 10-foot and just add a double bimini. The looks of that you may or may not go for. I would prefer to have one longer bimini than have the whole thing bimini. It looks, personal preference, looks more like a school bus, but it gives you great shade. You can put the curtains down and you can extend your season there in Indiana. If you get the side panels, I don't know that a lot of people that do that get a ton of use out of them. But especially with your young kids, 1 to 3, what else would I do? Depending on what flooring you're getting, I like to have the hard surface area in the back where the kids are going to get on and off that boarding ladder a ton, and they're going to jump in. They're going to get off. They're going to jump in. They're going to get off and jump in. Sometimes that bamboo flooring, the seagrass type flooring, can get slick. So if you have the option, just make sure you find the one that's going to be least slick in that. What else on that setup? Those are the things. Depth finder, if it's a smaller lake, that I think a depth finder is good. 90% of the time, I would say put that in. It may or may not be standard on that model. I don't know. Let's see. I love, your kids are a little bit young, but the lily pad diving board is a really fun option to have. That's something that can be added. When they're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, when they're my girls' ages, that I think that's a really fun addition to it. I'm not a big LED light kind of guy. To keep your investment down, it's the ski tow bar, it's the power steering, definitely, especially small lake, Indiana, tubing, jet skiing, or tubing and cruising, narrow body of water. Absolutely, I would go with that with the 200. Lifting strakes, third tune, you're getting the aluminum skin you're getting with that tri-tune package. And all the other stuff is cool, but it's not going to really add to your boating fun. You're not going to be like, oh my God, this was the most amazing trip because we had this option versus not having it. The LED lighted cup holders, ooh, it's cool, but it's not going to boost up your fun dramatically for the investment. And so I think those are the things that you need to have. I actually did a video on this as well that, let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. You might not see this on my screen because I'm not pontoon options. Okay, here we go. So this is, and I'm a little clunky on sharing my screen because I only am running one screen tonight. What screen do we want to share? So you can watch cool ideas for your new pontoon. There's some ideas there, and then overrated options. These are things that I think I'm not a big fan of, but it's so personal. But I think those two videos could be interesting for you to watch on that. So, all right, let's come back. I'm not even going to share my screen. I don't even know if you saw that, but those would be a few thoughts that I got there. All right, let's see here. Charlie, first time out on the jet boat. I hated the boat once I got used to the handling. It's like driving a sports car. Yeah, it is. It's very different, especially as a first-time boater. I'll tell you a story. I don't know. Practice slow speeds, yes. So I sold Yamaha jet boats when I sold boats back in, when we pick them up in like 2010, I think. And so I sold them for 3 or 4 years. I stopped selling boats in 2013 or 14. And had a guy, super nice guy, that bought the boat. And for whatever reason, he was busy. He traveled. We couldn't get together to do the training. He said, "Oh, I got it. I'll figure it out." Well, I got a call from him a couple weeks after he took delivery of the boat. And he said, "Matt," he said, "I got bad news." He was docking it. He had a difficult situation at his dock. It was before they were putting the rudders on the drives. It was a 240 AR, I think is what it was, or 210 AR maybe. It was a twin engine. And he ended up running this thing under his dock, smashing his windshield, punching a hole in the side of the boat because he didn't learn how to operate it properly. Partially my fault. But as a salesperson, I can only do so much to say, let's get you trained. And if they take it out and they don't take advantage of the training, I still felt awful because I knew I could have trained him how to not have that happen. But making sure that you practice, making sure that you get out there and get comfortable with it is so important, especially because those things are so damn quick. They just take off. I ran the jet skis today. My in-laws have 2 like super, super fast jet skis. So I'll take my girls out and, you hit that throttle and you're just back. And, that's on a ski. You put twins in a boat and you're doing that. Even the 190 SX with the smaller engine in it, you hit that throttle and you're pushed back in your seat. It happens quickly. So, all right, good. You're welcome, Ted. Again, thank you for supporting the channel. Thanks for supporting what we're doing here. You ain't going to believe this. I was at Pro Sports Shop in my town, best boat shop in town, and they had some new used boats on their lot. They had a Bayliner Rendezvous with the proper trailer. Listen, the Bayliner Rendezvous, that sucker was huge. I mean, at the time, that thing was one of the biggest boats going. If you don't know what a Rendezvous is, it was Bayliner's big deck boat in early 90s, maybe mid 90s. I don't know when they started, but this thing was just all seating. It was 8.5 foot beam front to back, just seating everywhere, but it was a tunnel hull. So it was, kind of like a catamaran style. It took a special trailer, didn't fit on a pontoon trailer, didn't fit on a V-hull trailer. You had a special trailer. And, I remember I took one in on trade. We ended up having to tow it back into the marina. We went down, we gave him like $1,000 for it. And we went down, it didn't run, towed it back, didn't have a trailer, which was the big reason my GM was like, I can't give them any more than this because this is just going to be a pain in my butt. But, they're buying a good boat. We'll give them $1,000 and we'll make something out of it. And the right trailer is what really, if we had the right trailer, probably a $5,000 boat, $7,000 boat, maybe at the time, but with no trailer, he's like, no, I don't care what you tell me, how great of people these guys are. We're not putting anything more than $1,000 into it because you just can't find the right trailer for those things. And so that was my lesson learned on the Bayliner Rendezvous. And now as I watch in different channels and stuff, I'll see somebody on the hunt for a Bayliner Rendezvous trailer. And I'm like, oh, you're in for a bad situation. Hopefully you didn't buy the boat yet. So I should put that on my boats to watch out for video. All right, good. I'm glad, Lewis, that was a good that was a good story. Yeah, Wayne, he was totally fine. Thank God. This guy was a great guy. He was a super nice guy. Had a beautiful home on Lake Wiley in South Carolina, where I'm at. And he led off the story with, "You're not going to believe what happened." He said, "I'm okay." And then he sent me the pictures, and it could have been really, really, really bad for sure. Cause he had a dock, a 2-tiered dock on pilings, and he got it up on the one side, but under the other. And that's where it punched the hole. And it's why the best boat captain on the water training, and why I'm so focused on helping those new boaters. Even the free boater boot camp, that program, I could easily sell that program, and it's that valuable that you're getting $50, $100 worth of value out of that right there, because you're not going to make those mistakes, and it's not going to cost you that money. But the best boat captain on how to drive it that's a program that I think every new boater needs to do. Yeah, D. Grigg, Wayne's going to be joining us on one of the lives here in 2 weekends from this weekend. He's got some great videos. Obviously, you're aware of him. You are probably subscribed to his channel. So he's going to join us and talk a little boating with him. I know he's involved with Argo, the navigation app, and he's got some great content over there. So that'll be a fun weekend. All right, Bo, good to have you. Happy 4th of July, sir. We will see you next weekend. And I'm going to make a better lead-in video to your lead-in video. So next week, I'm going to shoot it while we're at the Ozarks. I've kind of got a plan. And so we'll put mine in, put yours in to get us right to the end. And I think it's going to work out pretty awesome. So I think that's going to be a really fun live video. And also, I think just like when Charlie was on, when Hux 2012 was on as a guest, was that a month ago, maybe already, but just having another person to bounce conversation off of, I think is really fun. And especially since Wayne has a a significantly different boating experience than I do. Boating up in the Chesapeake, boating in that area is no joke. I mean, hey, I go out on Lake Loudon or even Lake of the Ozarks, which is super busy. It's nothing compared to what you got to be prepared for when you're at the coast, when you're boating at a place like the Chesapeake and up that way. So I think that's going to be real cool. All right. We are coming up on 45 minutes. If anybody else has any questions, please let me know. Let me do my little commercial here and then I'll come back to any questions. So if you're a boat buyer, if you haven't bought your boat yet, you need to get your hands on the Boat Buyer's Toolkit. The Boat Buyer's Toolkit, it's 25 pages. It's got checklists. It's got questions to ask dealer, questions to ask the private seller, how to demo, how to inspect a trailer, all that different information. There's a cost of ownership calculator, totally free. You can get that at boatersecretweapon.com or go to boatbuyerstoolkit.com. Boater Bootcamp is for new boaters. It's to share the things you don't know about boating and boat ownership, the systems of a boat. Why is a bilge pump important? Why is a blower important to use and what does it do? Where are your fuel filters and why are they important? And those system type things. Then we go into rules of the road and basic boating navigation. So how not to run aground, sorry, Rhonda, if you're still on, how not to dig up your prop by getting into the shallow waters. Some things to learn your local boating area, getting that local boating knowledge, because what I need to know to run here at Lake Loudon, we just saw a big barge pushing down the channel right off our dock. They were pushing, it was one tug pushing 6 barges, and they were 4 wide, taking up the most of the channel. And, you got to know how to deal with that. If you're in the Chesapeake, you got to know how to deal with the shallow. I mean, it's not super deep there. And you got to know how to read the water. You got to know how to read your charts. If you're boating on the river, you got to know about currents and you got to know about floating logs and stuff and what to do with that. And then we get into boater safety and emergencies, fire extinguishers, how to use them, VHF radios, how to use them, and some other, how to call a mayday, stuff like that. So, and then we get into the best boat captain, best pontoon captain. And these programs are all about how to actually drive and operate your boat, how to use the steering wheel and the throttle to control your boat and have total control in all situations, how to dock it, how to tie it up. Then we go trailer like a pro, tow water sports with confidence. And if you want a little bit extra help on the boat buying side of things, we've got the first time boat buyer academy, which will help you avoid a mistake. Probably the best part of that program, or the most valuable part, is the negotiation piece, how to make sure you get the best price and how to actually negotiate with a dealer or a private seller. And people have saved, $2,500 seems to be the number that I keep getting an email about. Hey, I used your method, saved an extra $2,500 after we already said, this is the price of the boat, negotiated a little bit. Then I used your technique, saved another $2,500. And so that's a pretty awesome program as well. And of course, everything comes with my personal Happy Boater money back guarantee. No questions asked, no rigmarole, no runaround. It's the way I want my community to run. I want my community to be friendly, to be helpful. And if my programs don't help, then I don't deserve the money for them, and I'll give you a refund. So, all right. So that is that. If you want, that would be awesome. Ray, if you would send me that, I could put that in a video, or maybe even if you wanted to join, Ray, if you wanted to join me as a special guest, we could talk about it and have it recorded. I could snap that piece out and turn that into its own little video if you're up for doing that. We could do it the weekend after, the Sunday after Wayne, the boat guy, joins us. So, how do you drive the boat with hands off the wheel and throttle? Only time I can release the throttle is when I'm in cruise mode. Still need hands on the wheel. Yeah, so here's the deal. I'm assuming, Charlie, that you're talking about my running of the Tahoe, which that video, I was like, oh, this is a really good video. And I got some comments. People were not happy with my boating safety in that video. Not wearing the safety cutoff switch, which I should have. That I should have done, but I very, very seldom do up until this point. Now it's a law that should have been done. But when you're running a propeller boat, that thrust, as long as the steering is tight enough, the thrust is going back, which is going to keep you straight. It's very unlikely that it's going to pivot that and turn you when you're going at certain speeds. You probably shouldn't do it, but I do it all the time, and it's not problematic. On your boat, because you've got that impeller and you've got that nozzle, and that nozzle is real easy to move, and your impeller is moving at such a high rate of speed that it's creating that vortex as it's coming out, and it's going to want to spin your wheels over, or your steering nozzles over because of that. It's just the different system, and that propeller is happening up here. So as you shoot it through the nozzle, that vortex is still coming out, where their propeller is crawling through the water and not sucking the water in and hitting it here and then going. So yeah, it's one of those things where I put myself out there as, hey, I'm going to share some information with you. I'm fine getting the criticism from whether it's these guys that they've got a very good point. That's probably not a great example, but and the dealer from Marco Island, Florida, that got on me that I didn't know what I'm doing. Hey, when you put yourself out there like this, and I get the benefit of the community and the building the business off it, I got to take the other side too. But just a different style of boat. All right, High Voltage, thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you in a future one. But I appreciate your questions and joining in. Old Sea Ray Bowliner. Boater Tom has been with us a couple of times here. Have an older Sea Ray bow rider at low speed. The Merc Cruiser handling is pretty sloppy. Okay, so Boater Tom, when you look at if you're talking about the weaving, if you're talking about your Sea Ray just kind of weaving back and forth, that's just part of it. If you have the Alpha drive, which is a single propeller, it's going to happen more than the Bravo drive, which has the counter rotating props. They kind of offset each other. What's happening is your propeller is turning at slow speeds, and because you don't have that high propulsion going forward, like when I was running that Tahoe and I let go of the wheel, I was going at such a speed that the force was all going backwards, and the prop was giving us a straight track. Okay. When you're going slow, that propeller has a tendency to crawl. It's called P-force. I talk about in the Best Boat Captain on the Water and show you a way to see how much P-force your boat has. Now, if you look on your ventilation plate, you've got your prop here, and you've got that little flat surface thing that comes off, and it kind of looks like a wing. That's the anti-ventilation plate. Keeps the air from getting sucked in and letting the prop lose grip of the water. Well, if you look on that, you've got an anode there, and that anode probably has a fin, okay? And that fin should be offset. So if this is running straight, that fin should be offset maybe 10, 15, 20 degrees. And what that's doing is that's offsetting just that little bit of rudder action is offsetting the P-force at slower speeds. It's going to help you track straight. But you cannot track straight in a single prop boat. It's gonna wind. The best thing to do, if you just hold the steering wheel straight, what's going to happen is it's just going to do a little zigzag back and forth, and you don't need to steer at all. What happens is it goes this way and you correct. Well, it's going to come back this way. So now you corrected, and now you overcorrected, and then you overcorrected and overcorrected. If that's what you're talking about, that's the fix. Would an outboard make a difference no, I don't think so. Now, let me see if I answered that question right. See if that was your issue. ZRK99, welcome. Good to have you in the comments, and happy 4th to you, my friend. Dang safety code. Actually, yeah, it's that safety switch. It's like, oh, that law is, if you're running a bass boat, I don't know if Brock's on, if you're running a flats boat, if you're running offshore, in sloppy, even not sloppy, if you're running offshore where, hey, something goes wrong, that boat gets away from you, you're in a world of hurt. Okay. Now, the flip side is, if you're running your boat, we got some fireworks going off. If you're running your boat and you stand up to, grab something or whatever, and that safety switch comes off and you're running down the middle of a busy channel and now you cut off, well, there's also some issues with that. So I don't love the law, but it is the law. I talked to a DNR officer on Lake Wiley, which is a federal waterway. It's enforced by the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard monitors that lake. They put a boat on it, 5 times a year, maybe. But he said, yes, we are starting to enforce that law. And so it's the law. It needs to be done. But I personally am not for everybody. I don't think it's a universal smart thing, but it's the law, and that's the way it is. So yeah, ZRK, Wayne's going to join us in 2 weekends. I don't know what the date is off the top of my head, but he's going to join us as a special guest on a live. All right, so Ted, just to circle back, usually buy pre-owned luxury items, cutely aware of appreciation. Yeah, okay. So I think my gut tells me, without knowing you, let's see, either way, I agree. Quality Robalo. Yeah. My gut tells me that you'll be happier in the long run if you get the Robalo used. Now, you got to make sure that you do the inspection on the engine. You got to make sure that you do the inspection on the entire boat. Get the toolkit. Watch my center console videos, and you'll be able to make a smart decision. Pull compression on the engine, and I think my gut tells me that you're going to be happier 5 years from now with that Robalo than you would be with the Bayliner, than that trophy. That's my gut feeling. I wish I could give you a definitive yes, do this or don't do that. But it's a very personal decision. If the warranty on the engine is that much of just makes you feel better, then that Tahoe could be it. But when you said I buy, let's see, what was it? Pre-owned luxury items. That tells me, just by using the word luxury items, it tells me that you buy nicer things, you buy higher quality things, and you do that probably for a reason. And I think that same philosophy, I think, would make you happier here. So, but I wish I could give you a specific, but I think that's good. Is there a maximum lanyard length on the switches? I don't know. I don't know what the specs say on what that lanyard needs to be, other than it needs to be on the boat. Usually I like the coiled ones a little bit better, because they don't dangle as much. They don't get in the way. And oh, by the way, when you're running your lanyard, never, ever, ever put it on your wrist like you do with a jet ski. Clip it to your life vest. If you're wearing a life vest, clip it to your shorts. Do not clip it to your wrist, because if you need to make a maneuver and that thing gets wrapped around the throttle or you get caught up in it, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. Clip it on your body, preferably in your midsection somewhere, and that's the right answer, or that's the right way to wear it when you're wearing it underway. Ted, thank you very much for joining us. You're welcome. My girls love to give a quick hey. Yeah, Wayne, you're right. That would be a great video. I think you are really good at the showing new products and stuff. That's not something I've done a lot of. But I think that's a great video and something I'll look into as well. Low speed steering seems typical of these boats, Sea Ray owners. Yeah. That's I'm guessing, Boater Tom. I'm guessing that's exactly what happens. I'm guessing it's that. Take a look at your tab. You can easily adjust it. There's on your drive, there is just above. So you've got your ventilation plate, and then you've got that little hump. There's a little, probably a little rubber plastic piece in there. Pop that out. There's a bolt there. That bolt is what's holding that little anode rudder on. Release that a little bit, and then you can set that angle, tighten it down, run the boat. Does it make it track a little bit straighter? If you're going out of an 800-foot channel to get out from your dock, it's probably worth playing around with it a little bit. It's just see what the angle is, and just make those adjustments. And it's still gonna wander, but you can get it to wander a little bit less. And just keep your hand off the steering wheel. Don't worry about steering it. Get it set reasonably straight, and then just make small adjustments, knowing that by the time it starts going and you make the adjustment, you're too late, because it's going to, in like another 3 seconds, it's going to start wandering back. Figure out what that timing looks like, and then you can tell if you're really off or not. So I think that'll be helpful for you. So, all right. We are at an hour. This has been awesome. I wasn't sure what kind of crowd we would have here with everybody having a big 4th of July weekend. Thank you all very much. I appreciate you joining us. Wayne, the boat guy, thanks for hopping on here. I really look forward to having you live on screen with us. So it'll be Wayne, it'll be me, and then whatever slides we have. We're going to talk. He just set up a call with me to kind of have a talk before we do the live. Maybe we'll come up with some pre-planned topics to have a conversation on, and then answer questions as they come in. So thank you all very much. Thanks for joining us. Corey, yes, having a great 4th, and we are going to continue as we head to the Lake of the Ozarks tomorrow and spend a week there with my family. So appreciate it, everybody. Happy 4th, everybody. Hope you all had a fun one, definitely a safe one, and we will catch you next Sunday. Take care, everybody.